Hi folks, you're with Tassus today, your pushback channel, and thank you for joining this live stream. In this essay, I'd like to talk about the difference between the number of job interviews a well-qualified straight white male will go through to get the job, how many interviews a racial or gender quota minority will go through for the same job or an equivalent job. So I got this recently, not that long ago. A former colleague was talking about how many interviews they had to attend to get a job. It's a kind of, I don't know, their job would have been like sort of GP of sales, I think the gig was in this case. So there's 12 interviews. There's all sorts of other online psych tests and suitability and capability type tests, none of which are worth a pinch of shit in my view. But nonetheless, you got to go through it. But this is several hours time online doing these things, and then some activist in HR comes up with some other sort of questionnaire type thing where he's got to answer questions like, "Are you on board with climate change?" and did you vote for Donald Trump type question. They it's an absurd sort of thing, but they're trying to got the right sort of mindset, that you're a good flunky stooge globalist and that sort of thing. So very intrusive type of questioning that I think has absolutely no place in particularly given you've got to say, well, I hate Donald Trump before you get the job or something. That's absolutely ridiculous. And I would think if it was challenged in court, they'd, anybody would win that if they wanted to take it that far. But anyway, you're looking at around 12 interviews and say 4 to 5 hours online filling out these bullshit tests and questionnaires and so on. So it's quite a big commitment. Now, if you look at the travelling to and from and the office where you're having the interviews done and so on, it's a big commitment in time. The travelling back and forth, you're looking at 40 hours plus. And there's no, you're dealing with people, certainly by my experience, and this guy confirms that you're dealing with people, none of whom really understand the job, and none of them should really be involved in the interview, or maybe one or two in terms of understanding the actual requirements of it. Most of them are there just to assess, is there a power threat or a threat to their power or position or something like that. And again, a lot of the people are in the jobs that are, or in the positions that are part of the interview committees and the like. They're not really qualified to ask questions, nor do they understand the answers when they come back. And that's certainly been my personal experience of being on interview committees and indeed attending interviews myself. So, and this is more and more the case now, that most of the people are appointed for reasons other than their capability for the role that they have. Now, also, there's been a change in management structure. It used to be a time when you would report to a boss, and that was kind of it. But now, in terms of matrix management, which is very much the go, then people are might not necessarily report to many others, but they have an information sharing situation, or some sort of a group session where they're part of a team that's supposed to be getting this or that done. So there's kind of a lot of people involved in the matrix, and the more qualified a candidate for a job is, the more these people, the other people in the matrix, want to deal themselves into the game. If the candidate is sort of at the low end of the qualifications, then they don't really care. Someone else can make that decision. But if the candidate's at the high end, then straight away everyone's antenna sort of comes up and they go, shit, I want to see this guy. I want to meet him. I want to size him up or her up. And so well qualified, well credentialed automatically is interpreted and seen as threat. Low qualified, low qualifications, unqualified is seen as no threat, or little threat. So that tends to be the sort of the power dynamic that goes on around these things. So this guy's saying that he's got to attend all these interviews, but pointing out that none of the people that he's talking to, and this is a former colleague, and he's pretty good, so that none of the people that he's talking to really, should be in their roles, and it's a little exasperating that he's got to be, morally checked out by the black lesbian in HR, and who's really getting off on her power of having a white man, straight white guy there as a I don't know, a toy that she can persecute and torture to her heart's content. You don't like it, buddy? You're out of here. No job for you, you fucking Hitler. And so it's a crazy situation. Generally, all these unqualified people attempting to sort of assess the well-qualified one. But anyway, this is the thing. Now, the other sort of side of it, and he pointed this out, and I've noticed this in the past, but kind of forgotten about it, is that the job's got some, as advertised at least in the job description, it's got some pretty high-powered requirements in it. You'd have to be very well qualified. Multiple sort of academic qualifications, certificate, a lot of experience in very, very specific areas, that sort of stuff. So he ticks all the boxes there, but he's gone online and had a look at who his sort of immediate sort of boss would be, the other people in the matrix, and then sort of his boss's boss, if you like. And none of them are qualified to get that job. So none of the people in the matrix or anywhere around there could meet that criteria, the job description criteria. So he was sort of, we were talking about, why, given he meets that criteria, the chances of him getting the job may be slim, because he's better qualified than anyone else there. His boss, his boss's boss, and all his peers and the people around him. So he's thinking, and I tend to agree with this, that in the end they're going to plumb for someone who's less qualified. So then we come back to the situation: why did human resources put an advert out that's got such stringent requirements? Well, it gives them the excuse to disqualify people they don't want to hire. That's number one. But more importantly, that it indicates the amateurism, the shambling, stupid, pathetic amateurism of most HR departments, and a lot of the line managers. So nobody wants to understate the requirements for the job. So they're going to, but HR departments tend to look at it in a very linear sense. So, okay, well, sales director, so you've got to have a degree in sales. Some of this is going to be got to have a degree in marketing. Some of it is going to be involving, computer science technology. Got to have a degree in computer science, and got to have a degree in sales, and so on. So they tend to see everything as an individual certificate. So now it gets to the coming back to this Supreme Court nominee in the United States. What's a woman? I don't know. I'm not a biologist. I mean, it comes back to that sort of the attitude of the sort of people that populate HR departments and around there. Is that's how do we know this person can actually do that job if they don't have the certifications for it? So do you have a degree in customer assessment? That's something. Well, how do you know whether or not your customer wants to buy this? This sort of stuff. It's insane. But these are the sort of people that run on this way of looking at the world. So they tend to have these adverts. They have all these requirements for certifications and experiences in them. So people look at that advert or the job description and go, holy fuck, I've got to have 5 million degrees and I've got to have this and that, the next thing. When in reality, of course, you don't need any of that. But the difference here is, and I'm starting to sort of notice this around, is that if you're on a quoted minority list, then you don't have to go through any of this. It's all waived. I mean, a bit like they put low IQ black kids through high school and senior high school into college. It's the same sort of mentality where they're just none of these requirements. You don't have to pass the test. You don't have to meet this criteria. You don't have have to have all these certifications. You're part of a quoted minority. We have to fill the quota, and that's the priority. Priority isn't to get people who can do the job and know what they're doing. Holy fuck! Which idiot thought of that? Our job is to tick the boxes and get someone in there on the gender and race quotas, that or the sexuality quota, or all three. So that tends to be the way that they're looking at it, so that the qualification requirements are really only there for straight white males. They're not there for anybody else. So the straight white male has to go through, for example, 12 interviews, but the minority quota person doesn't. They one interview will do. Most often the online testing and someone is waived as well. Just no, don't worry, you don't have to do that. So this is part of this is the reason I think you see, and I see certainly the astronomical number of unqualified people just with clutching their little ticker box checklist of things they have to do, because they haven't really got a clue what they're doing. They're just ticking the boxes. You've been with Tassos today, your Pushback channel, and thank you for listening.